Guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another edition of Intuitive Angling. Really appreciate you guys checking the video out today. And by popular demand, I'm going to do a video on how to catch bass at night. I've been getting a lot of comments really over the past year or so about night fishing tips. And I didn't know how good it would go across. I don't know how many people night fish, but there might be more people than what I think, because I get a lot of questions about night fishing. So I'm going to give you guys some tips and advice from my own experience. I used to night fish a bunch, and sort of think it's going to definitely help you guys catch some more fish at night if you're not familiar with it. Even if you are, it might add something a little bit more. But anyway, my night fishing experience started, it started way back. Me and a couple of buddies of mine, the only way we could find a place to fish was, sneaking in farm ponds, because most of the farmers up north of the area I lived, they didn't want anybody fishing their farm ponds. And being young and full of the vigor of life, being 15, 16, 17 years old, we wanted to catch some bass, We didn't keep them. We just wanted to fish for fun. So the safest way to do it was to sneak in these farm ponds at night. Which amazing how many times we got caught and ran out. It's almost like they had infrared cameras or something on their ponds. But I got my first experience with night fishing was sneaking in farm ponds. And then when I was a senior in high school, I joined a bass club in Joplin, Missouri. And this was back in 1979. And most of the guys in the club were quite a bit older than I was. And there was me and another buddy of mine about my same age, but most of the guys in the club were older. And these dudes did not want to fish during the daytime in the heat. They just thought it was terrible to fish when it was over 70 degrees. So they wanted to fish at night all the time. So we had probably 75% of our tournaments at night. So I learned a lot about night fishing over the next several years with that. And then another, buddy of mine, he's been a big night fisherman his whole life. So I got drug into it. First of all, I'll tell you about night fishing. I don't like fishing at night. I mean, it's usually now don't get me wrong, the fishing is always better. The fishing is 3 times as good or 4 times as good at night as during the daytime. The bass are a lot easier to catch. But the thing I don't like about fishing at night is if you fish all night long, it throws your system off for the next couple of days. You can't see what you're doing. It's usually wet and clammy out. You can't experience everything that I really like to experience fishing, as far as being able to throw at targets and that type of stuff. It's all by feel. But anyway, I learned a lot about night fishing. I'm going to share you guys some tips and information. And first of all, I want to talk about the 2 main baits that you need to fish at night. And I've seen very few situations where these were where you needed anything else besides these 2 baits. The first one is a big spinnerbait, a big black spinnerbait. I like a 3/4 ounce black skirt, some type of a black trailer on it, with some type of either single or double Colorado blades. Now, the reason I like the Colorado blades, even in gin clear water, I've caught tons of bass at Table Rock on this setup here, even in super clear water, is the Colorado blades just put out more vibration. So obviously at night they can't feed by sight, they're feeding by vibration. So the Colorado blades really act to that. And the reason you want to use the dark black skirt is that silhouette's better than like a lighter colored skirt in the dark. So this is the first one. The second one is just the black jig. This is the Blockit Old School jig, black super chunk on it. And these 2 are the staples. If I can't catch them on one of these 2 baits, they're not biting at night, because these are the 2 baits, really the only 2 baits that you need. So the thing about night fishing, it will throw you off a lot of times in the daytime, because the night fish do not relate or bite anything like the fish during the daytime. You will really find out how many fish is in a lake if you fish at night, because what happens is it's my theory that fish feed at night most of the time. I think when you catch them during the daytime, it's not because they're hungry, it's because of some other reflex. It's competition, curiosity, anger, reflex, that type of stuff. But when you're fishing at night, you're fishing for actively feeding fish, and they make mistakes because it's dark out. So you can really make a lot of mistakes as far as your areas go and still catch bass at night. So the first thing you want to look for at night fishing is, depends on the type of lake that you're fishing. Most of the time, you're not going to catch many bass in a lake at night unless you have water visibility like over 3 feet. I prefer clearer the better, but I don't like to fish anything visibility wise under 3 feet. You can catch some fish doing that, don't get me wrong, but you're going to catch a lot more if you're in a little bit clearer water. So the first thing you need to do is try to find the clearest water in the lake that you're fishing. You know, stay away from the creek arms and the river arms where it's a little bit dirtier. Try to get to the main lake on the lower end where you got that clearer water. What happens at night is a lot of these fish that are suspended, they will pull up on the bank overnight. And the reason I know this is because at Table Rock Lake, there's, I don't know how many times that I've been drop shotting for suspended fish during the summertime, and I'll be over 60, 70 foot of water and catching these fish suspended 20 or 30 foot down during the daytime. And you'll catch these fish and they've got crawdad pinchers sticking out of their throat and they're suspended over open water. Those fish didn't get those crawdads out in open water. Those fish were feeding at night up on the bank. So you got a tremendous amount of fish that move up on the bank at night. First thing you want to look for is if you got a lake that has boat docks on it, fish around the lighted boat docks. Lighted boat docks are great areas to catch bass on. They're probably one of my favorite areas. It's also easier to see with the lights, but a lot of times, you know, the insects will be around those docks in the summertime. You know, keeps the perch a little bit more active, keeps more bass in there. So boat docks are excellent areas to fish that are lit up, particularly around the lights. The next areas I like to fish with them are main lake points. Main lake points are huge gravitation areas at night for bass to get on, because a lot of these fish that are either out deep on the point or suspended out off the point chasing shad. At night, they move up on the bank, they get right up on those banks and they start feeding. So I look for a main lake point, fish the point itself and down the sides. Next thing I look for is any type of steep bank. Steeper channel banks, anywhere where you have the main river channel or a sharp drop off against the bank. I'll get right up against there and parallel that, slow roll that spinnerbait down there, maybe pitch that jig up there against there, you know, work it out a little bit. And, you know, that's the type of stuff I look for. But you can't go wrong, guys, if you stay with the two baits, stay with the big black spinnerbait, Colorado Blades, 3/4 ounce black jig, fish boat docks if you got them, if they're lighted, stay on main lake points, try to concentrate in that sort of that 2 to 5 foot zone. And also, most of your strikes are going to come fairly close to the bank at night, although you do need to work the bait far out, because sometimes I have caught them out in 8 to 10 foot of water. I'm not sure if those fish are suspended or they're chasing the bait, whatever, but that's one of the good things there. Also, you're going to find out that fish usually always bite better, you know, during some type of a brighter moon, full moon, something like that. Just makes them a little bit more active for whatever reason, and that's one of the things I look for. So I look for those, you know, spring, summer, fall nights where it's a little bit warm, you got some type of a moon, and throw the spinnerbait in the jig and you'll definitely get some bites. So are you about ready to go to bed?
No.
You're not? I think it's time for bed, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Okay. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll talk to you later.